Every day a silent war is fought inside you, one that no one talks about. Yet everyone feels it's a battle not against enemies you can see, but against the unseen forces pulling at the core of who you are. Lustful thoughts invade your mind like relentless intruders, promising fleeting pleasure while silently chaining you to a life of emptiness. It's a cycle, an addiction disguised as a desire for release, yet it leaves you more trapped than ever before. What if I told you that freedom from this cycle is not just a fantasy, but a reality within your reach? What if the answer wasn't more resistance, but a complete shift in how you perceive these thoughts? The truth is, most people don't realize that the real battle isn't in what you do when the temptation hits. It's in how you handle the war before it ever begins. These thoughts don't have to define you. They don't have to control you. In this moment, you stand at the edge of a life-altering transformation. The key to freedom isn't what you think it is, and today we're going to unlock it together. 1. The silent battle within. The war you never see. There's a battle that rages within you every single day. A war most people never even realize they're in. It's a war that isn't fought with swords, bullets, or physical strength. It's a war fought in the mind, a silent conflict between who you are and the desires that seek to control you. This battle is fought in every fleeting thought, every desire that rises up, and every urge that pulls you in a direction you know is not aligned with your true self. And yet it's one of the most significant wars you will ever face. The war within isn't just about resisting temptation. It's about understanding its roots. Lustful thoughts, for example, don't just appear randomly. They are the product of years of conditioning, societal influences, and inner desires that have been allowed to take root. These thoughts are not your identity, but they hold the power to shape how you feel, think, and act, if left unchecked. This silent battle begins with one simple question. Who are you really? Are you the sum of your impulses, or is there something greater, something deeper inside of you, fighting to emerge? When lustful thoughts arise, they don't just challenge your discipline, they challenge your sense of self. They force you to decide who you will be in that moment. Will you let the urge control you, or will you rise above it? This is where the true battle lies, not in the temptation itself, but in how you respond to it. The ability to recognize that these thoughts do not define you is where your power begins. Too often people believe they are powerless against their desires. They think that if they experience lustful thoughts, they are somehow weak or flawed. But the truth is, everyone experiences such thoughts. The difference lies in how you handle them. The real enemy isn't the thought, it's the belief that the thought has power over you. The more you identify with the thought, the more control it gains over your mind and actions. This is where the true war begins. The moment you allow the thought to dictate your next move. But what if you could break free from that cycle? What if you could see lustful thoughts for what they truly are, temporary, fleeting, and ultimately powerless when you don't give them your attention? This battle doesn't require brute force. It requires awareness. Awareness that the mind is constantly filled with thoughts that are not necessarily your own. It's a battlefield where thoughts, desires, and impulses clash, trying to control your every move. But when you realize that you can step back, observe these thoughts without acting on them, you begin to regain control. True freedom comes not from avoiding the battle, but from engaging in it with awareness and discipline. The war within is not a one-time fight, it's a daily commitment to choose who you will be in the face of temptation. It's a constant practice of recognizing that while thoughts may come, they do not have to stay. You are not a slave to your desires unless you choose to. The more you practice this mindset, the easier it becomes to reject these distractions and move closer to your higher self. In the end, this silent battle is less about the battle itself and more about who you choose to become in the process. Are you going to be defined by your desires, or will you rise above them and find the true freedom that comes from mastering your mind? 2. The deception of instant gratification, the lie of pleasure. Instant gratification has become the cornerstone of modern society, woven into the fabric of how we live, consume, and even think. It promises quick fixes, immediate relief, and temporary pleasure. But behind that glossy veneer lies a deeper truth, a lie that's been fed to us for generations, the idea that fleeting pleasure will bring lasting satisfaction. And in chasing it, we've unknowingly placed ourselves in chains. When we seek instant gratification, we're looking for an escape, a quick way to numb the discomfort, to silence the demands of our minds, to feel good if only for a moment. Whether it's scrolling through social media for a quick dopamine hit, indulging in food to feel comforted, or giving in to lustful thoughts to temporarily ease the tension, the pattern is the same. We seek pleasure not to nourish, but to mask deeper issues. We reach for what's easy, and in doing so we dig ourselves deeper into a pit of false promises. What makes instant gratification so deceptive is that it feels good. Initially, the rush of pleasure is real, but it's hollow. That feeling doesn't last. In fact, it often leaves us feeling emptier than before, craving even more of the same to fill the void it briefly covered. It's a cycle, a vicious loop, and one that's hard to break out of because the relief, however short-lived, feels like a victory in the moment. The trap of instant gratification isn't just that it's temporary, it's that it trains us to seek more faster. With every moment of indulgence, we reinforce the desire for quick pleasure and ignore the long-term consequences. This constant seeking leads us to a deeper sense of dissatisfaction. We forget that true fulfillment doesn't come from immediate relief, but from the consistent, often challenging work of pursuing long-term goals, emotional maturity, and spiritual growth. We've been conditioned to think that our worth is tied to our immediate desires being met. We believe that the more we satisfy our cravings, the happier we'll be. Yet we are constantly left with a gnawing feeling of something missing. Instant gratification distracts us from our true need. It ignores the fact that real joy, peace, and fulfillment are built over time, through effort, discipline, and alignment with higher values. It convinces us that the pursuit of pleasure is the goal when, in reality, it is the pursuit of meaning, growth, and connection that brings lasting satisfaction. Instant gratification doesn't allow for reflection. It teaches us to live in the moment, ignoring the bigger picture. The true pleasure, the kind that transforms, is never about the momentary high. It's about delayed satisfaction, the kind you earn through hard work, patience, and discipline. The satisfaction that comes when you've invested in your growth and achieved something worthwhile. Ultimately, the lie of instant gratification is this: pleasure doesn't last, and it's not the end goal. The pursuit of fleeting highs is a dead-end road, one that keeps us from seeing the bigger, more fulfilling path of delayed gratification and long-term happiness. True peace and fulfillment are not born from quick fixes, but from a life of intentional, disciplined choices that lead to a deeper sense of satisfaction and purpose. It is a conflict that has shaped civilizations, defined personal journeys, and lies at the very heart of our existence. From ancient texts to modern-day philosophies, the battle between the physical and the spiritual has been depicted in countless ways. But at its core, it's a battle for control, the battle to live not as a slave to our desires, but as the master of our true self. The flesh in this context refers to our bodily instincts, desires, and impulses. It is the part of us that craves immediate gratification, that seeks comfort, pleasure, and satisfaction in the moment. The flesh is not inherently evil. It is simply a reflection of our natural human instincts. However, when allowed to dominate, it can lead us down a destructive path. It is in the flesh that lust, greed, pride, and addiction take root. These desires can take on a life of their own, pulling us into a cycle of temporary pleasure that always leaves us wanting more, never fully satisfied. On the other side of this battle is the spirit, the part of us that seeks something greater than the transient pleasures of the flesh. The spirit is connected to our higher self, to our purpose, and to the deeper meaning of life. It is the part of us that longs for peace, growth, and enlightenment. The spirit doesn't seek immediate gratification, but instead pursues long-term fulfillment and true content. It calls us to rise above the surface-level desires and look beyond the fleeting moments of satisfaction that the flesh offers. The struggle between these two forces is not just internal. It shapes every aspect of our life. Every decision, every temptation, every act of discipline or indulgence is a reflection of which side is winning. When the flesh is in control, we are slaves to our impulses, driven by cravings that can never be fully satisfied. We may find temporary relief in the pleasures of the world, but they always leave us empty, always pulling us back for more, like a hunger that can never be filled. But when the spirit takes the lead, something profound happens. We begin to transcend the limitations of the flesh. The cravings become weaker, the desires lose their hold on us. The spirit offers us a deeper sense of peace, a sense of control that the flesh can never provide. It reminds us that true freedom is not found in the indulgence of our immediate desires, but in the mastery over them. The spirit calls us to something higher, urging us to look beyond what is right in front of us and into the bigger picture, the life we were meant to live. This age-old struggle is the foundation of much of human growth. It is the source of our highest achievements and our deepest failures. Every time we choose to reject the temporary satisfaction of the flesh in favor of the enduring peace of the spirit, we take a step closer to true freedom. The challenge lies not in the absence of the flesh, but in its management. The flesh will always exist, but we have the power to rise above it, to choose the spirit over the impulse. Ultimately, the flesh is not our enemy. It is our teacher. It shows us what we are capable of when we give in, but it also shows us what we stand to lose. The spirit, however, offers us a vision of what we can become: strong, purposeful, and free. The age-old struggle is not one to avoid, but one to embrace, for it is through this very battle that we find our true power. Power through rewriting the script. Mastering your mind, reclaiming your power. Rewriting the script of your mind is the first step to mastering your thoughts and reclaiming the power that has always been yours. Every thought you entertain shapes your reality, especially when it comes to lustful impulses. These thoughts don't arise by accident. They're part of a mental script you've allowed to be written over time. But here's the truth. You are not the sum of your past thoughts. You are the creator of the script moving forward. Most people think that controlling lustful thoughts means simply pushing them away, ignoring them, or suppressing them. But that's not freedom. It's temporary restraint. True mastery over your mind involves changing the way you perceive and engage with these thoughts, not just trying to erase them. Every time a lustful thought enters your mind, you have a choice. Will you let it define you, or will you reframe it and shift its power? The process begins by acknowledging that thoughts are not facts. Just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it's yours or that it defines you. Thoughts are like clouds passing through the sky of your consciousness. You can choose to let them linger and grow, or you can let them pass without attaching meaning or identity to them. This is the first step in rewriting the script, detaching from the thoughts and realizing they are not an extension of who you are. Mastering your mind requires developing the ability to observe your thoughts without judgment. You'll notice that when lustful thoughts arise, there is a natural emotional pull to act on them. This is where the real work begins. Instead of following the impulse, take a step back and breathe. Pause. Ask yourself, is this thought serving my higher purpose? You'll often find the answer is no. Lustful thoughts are distractions, tempting you away from your true purpose. Once you recognize that thoughts are simply passing mental phenomena, you can begin to consciously rewrite the script. Replace thoughts of lust with thoughts of purpose, meaning and empowerment. When a lustful thought arises, don't react with guilt or shame. Instead, redirect your energy into something that aligns with your highest self. Visualize the person you want to become: strong, disciplined, purposeful, and embody that vision. Every time you reject a fleeting desire and choose to align with your higher values, you rewrite the script of your mind. In practical terms, this means creating new mental habits. Just like learning a new skill, mastering your thoughts requires repetition and consistency. When lustful thoughts come, practice shifting your focus immediately. This could be redirecting your thoughts to a goal, a prayer, a positive affirmation, or simply breathing deeply and grounding yourself in the present moment. The more you practice this, the stronger your mental muscle becomes. Additionally, the power of visualization is an important tool. Imagine yourself not as someone struggling with lustful thoughts, but as someone who is already in control, someone who has mastered their desires. Picture yourself succeeding in your pursuit of a greater purpose. This mental rehearsal rewires your brain, replacing old, destructive patterns with new, empowering ones. Mastery of your mind is not about perfection. It's about progress. Every time you take conscious control of your thoughts, you're reclaiming your power. It's a process, not an event. And with each step, you move closer to true freedom. Rewriting the script of your mind means you're no longer a victim to your impulses. You're the author of your own story. And in that story, you are the hero who rises above the distractions, the fleeting desires, and becomes the person you were always meant to be. If you're ready to break free from the chains of lust and transform your life, I've got something powerful for you. I've put together a guide that reveals 7 biblical secrets to destroy lust, secrets that will empower you to overcome temptation and reclaim your peace. This isn't just theory, it's practical, actionable wisdom based on timeless biblical truths. Don't let lust control your life any longer. Take the first step toward true freedom today. Grab your copy of the ebook now by clicking the link in the video description. It's time to rewrite your story. 5. Transmuting desire. Turning lust into power. Transmuting desire, especially lustful energy, into power is one of the most transformative practices you can adopt in your life. Lust is a potent force. It comes with intense energy that when misused can lead to destruction, but when harnessed properly, it can become a catalyst for greatness. The key to mastering this process is recognizing that desire, in and of itself, is not inherently negative. It's simply energy, and energy is neutral until it is directed. The first step in transmuting lust into power is understanding that every desire, no matter how fleeting, is an expression of energy. Lust is no different from any other desire. It's an impulse, a force that emerges from deep within, often connected to a longing for connection, validation, or relief. But just as a river can be destructive if left to flow unchecked, this powerful energy can either drown you or fuel your greatest achievements, depending on how you channel it. Most people react to lustful thoughts by suppressing them, denying their existence, or feeling ashamed of them. But this is a flawed approach because suppression does not address the root cause of the desire. It's like trying to stop a fire by covering it with a blanket. It may seem to go away temporarily, but the fire is still there waiting to ignite again. Instead of denying or suppressing, the goal should be to redirect this energy towards something more productive, more aligned with your true purpose. One of the most powerful tools for transmuting lust into power is mindfulness. The moment a lustful thought arises, pause and acknowledge it. Don't judge yourself and don't immediately give in to it. Recognize that this is simply energy in motion, an impulse that can be redirected. Instead of focusing on the thought itself, shift your attention to what you truly want to achieve in your life. Reconnect with your higher self, your purpose, and your goals. The more you practice this redirection, the easier it becomes to shift your energy away from temporary desires toward long-lasting, meaningful objectives. Another crucial step is understanding the concept of sexual energy. Often misunderstood and misused, sexual energy is one of the most potent forces within human beings. When properly harnessed, it can fuel your creativity, drive, and vitality. Many successful people have used the energy of lust to propel themselves forward in their careers, their relationships, and their personal growth. The key is to transmute the energy, rather than expelling it in moments of indulgence. This can be done through practices like exercise, creative expression, or intense focus on your goals. Redirecting your energy into something productive is like channeling the power of a storm into generating electricity. For example, the energy you might have used in a moment of lust can instead be put into writing, creating music, building your business, or strengthening your relationship. These are all outlets that allow you to express that raw primal energy in a way that moves you closer to your vision, rather than pulling you away from it. The most successful people throughout history have understood how to transmute desire. Rather than being controlled by their impulses, they used that very energy to fuel their success. Think of some of the most prominent figures, artists, entrepreneurs, athletes, who mastered this art. They turned their passions into a force for creativity, innovation, and discipline. In summary, transmuting lust into power is about recognizing that desire is a neutral force. It's not inherently bad, but it needs to be harnessed and directed toward your highest purpose. By acknowledging the energy, practicing mindfulness, and redirecting it into something constructive, you not only gain control over your impulses, but you also unlock a reservoir of power that propels you toward greatness. The desire is there, now it's up to you to choose how you use it. 6. Discipline and faith. The key to true freedom. If you discipline and faith are the twin pillars that hold the key to true freedom from lustful thoughts and desires. Both are indispensable when it comes to reclaiming control over your mind and your life. While discipline provides the structure needed to resist temptation, faith gives you the strength to believe in your capacity to rise above it. Together they form a powerful force that enables you to break free from the chains of lust and experience lasting peace and freedom. Discipline is not about rigidity or punishment. It's about creating the mental, emotional, and spiritual boundaries necessary for growth. Lustful thoughts thrive in an environment of unchecked indulgence. Without discipline, it's easy to let your mind wander, to entertain fleeting desires, or to succumb to the pull of instant gratification. However, discipline teaches you to control your impulses and resist the temptations that come your way. It's the art of setting clear intentions and following through with consistent action, even when the desires of the flesh call out to you. But discipline alone isn't enough. It needs to be paired with faith, the belief that you are capable of something greater than the cycles of temptation you've experienced in the past. Faith is the fuel that keeps you going when the road gets tough. It's the trust that you can master your mind, that you have a higher purpose to fulfill, and that freedom from lust is within your reach. Without faith, discipline can feel like an endless struggle. But with faith, discipline becomes a tool you can wield with confidence, knowing that every step you take towards self-control brings you closer to the life you were meant to live. Faith in this context is not just about believing in a higher power, though that is certainly part of it. It's about believing in yourself and in your ability to rise above your circumstances. It's about trusting that you are not bound by your past mistakes or the temporary nature of lustful thought. You are capable of transformation, and faith in your ability to change is what will carry you through moments of weakness. Faith allows you to see beyond the momentary pleasure of indulging in lust and to focus on the long-term rewards of mastering your desires. Together, discipline and faith help you break free from the trap of living by your impulses. They allow you to create new mental habits that replace the cycle of temptation with a new way of thinking and living. Discipline creates the structure necessary to say no to lust, while faith empowers you to believe that you can live without it. As you strengthen both, you will begin to notice a shift. The desires that once seemed overpowering will lose their grip on you, and you'll find yourself making choices that align with your highest self. But here's the most important part. This is not a one-time effort. True freedom requires consistent application of both discipline and faith. It's not about being perfect. It's about continually choosing the path of self-control, even when you falter. Every time you practice discipline, even in the face of temptation, your faith in yourself grows stronger. Every time you trust in the process and keep moving forward, you reaffirm that you are capable of conquering the challenges that lie ahead. Discipline and faith are the true keys to unlocking the freedom you seek. Together they form a dynamic partnership that not only helps you resist lustful thoughts, but transforms your entire life. They enable you to live a life of purpose, clarity, and spiritual power, free from the chains that once held you captive. The invisible chains. Breaking free from bondage. Lustful thoughts create invisible chains that bind you to a cycle of desire, guilt, and emptiness. These chains are not made of steel or metal, but of mental and emotional forces that can be far stronger and more suffocating. They are hidden in plain sight, woven into the very fabric of your daily life. You might not see them, but you feel their weight. They influence your actions, your relationships, and your peace of mind. Breaking free from these invisible chains requires more than resistance. It requires understanding their origins and learning how to dismantle them from within. The first step in breaking free is recognizing that these chains are not your natural state. Lust is an external force that preys on your vulnerabilities, often taking root during moments of weakness or emotional distress. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that lustful desires are part of who you are, that they are simply just the way things are. But this couldn't be further from the truth. These desires are not inherent to your being. They are distractions, hijackers of your mental clarity and spiritual purpose. Understanding that lustful thoughts are not yours by default is the key to breaking free. They are thoughts planted by external influences, whether societal, cultural, or emotional, that you've learned to accept as part of your identity. Once you understand that they are not part of who you truly are, you begin the process of detachment. The chains begin to loosen the moment you realize you don't have to claim every thought that enters your mind. You can choose which thoughts to engage with and which to discard. The second step is awareness. These chains thrive in the darkness, in the shadows of your mind where you think no one is watching. But once you bring them into the light of your awareness, they lose their power. It's essential to observe your thoughts without judgment. When lustful thoughts arise, simply acknowledge them. Don't suppress or ignore them, but don't act on them either. Recognize them for what they are: temporary, fleeting, and powerless. Once you stop feeding them, awareness is your most powerful tool in breaking free. Next comes intentionality. Breaking free from bondage requires taking conscious, deliberate action. It's not enough to just recognize the chains. You must actively work to break them. This means consistently redirecting your thought. Instead of engaging with the temptation, shift your focus to something that aligns with your higher purpose, whether it's a vision of your future self, a meaningful goal, or a prayer. Replace lust with thoughts that are life-affirming and empowering. Over time, this practice rewires your mind, making it easier to turn away from lust and turn towards purpose. Another key to freedom is discipline. Lust thrives in a mind that is undisciplined and reactive. To break free, you need to cultivate mental discipline. This means being intentional about what you allow into your mind, what you focus on, and how you react to temptations. It's about building a mental fortress that keeps external influences from controlling your inner peace. This discipline doesn't come overnight. It's built through daily practice and commitment to personal growth. Lastly, you must reclaim your true identity. The chains of lust are not just mental. They impact your sense of self. Lust makes you feel small, powerless and disconnected from your true purpose. But once you break free from these chains, you reconnect with the person you were always meant to be. You remember your worth, your strength, and your calling. This reconnection to your true self is the ultimate freedom, and it's the key to living a life of peace, purpose, and power. Breaking free from the invisible chains of lust isn't an overnight process, but it is possible. By recognizing that lustful thoughts are not your true identity, cultivating awareness, taking intentional action, practicing discipline, and reconnecting with your higher purpose, you can dismantle the chains that have held you captive. Freedom is not a distant dream. It's a choice you make today, and with each choice you move closer to a life of clarity, peace, and self-mastery. 8. The final step. Rising above, embracing your higher self. The final step in overcoming lustful thoughts and finding true freedom is rising above the distractions of the flesh and embracing your higher self. This isn't a distant abstract concept. It's a choice you make every day. The struggle isn't just about saying no to temptation. It's about saying yes to something greater. The moment you decide to rise above, you stop being defined by your impulses and start defining yourself by your potential. Rising above is a mental, emotional, and spiritual shift. It's recognizing that lustful thoughts are not your identity. They are just challenges you encounter on your journey. Every time you give in to temptation, you're allowing these distractions to shape who you are. But every time you reject them, you strengthen your higher self, your true identity. It's not a battle of suppressing desires, but of choosing which self you want to nourish and empower. Embracing your higher self begins with understanding your true nature. You are not a slave to your desires. Your purpose is far greater than any temporary pleasure or fleeting distraction. At the core of who you are is a person of strength, wisdom, and potential. Lustful thoughts are a form of mental noise that distract you from this true identity. The key is not to fight them head on, but to shift your focus to who you are becoming, the empowered, disciplined, and purposeful person you are destined to be. The first step is to change how you see yourself. When you view yourself as someone who is weak or a victim to desires, you remain stuck in a cycle of shame and guilt. But when you see yourself as someone with power over their thoughts, as someone capable of rising above any temptation, your actions align with that belief. Confidence in your ability to rise above starts with the belief that you already possess everything you need within you. Your strength comes from within, not from the external world or circumstances. The next step is to cultivate self-mastery. This is not about perfection, but progress. Every time you reject lustful thoughts, you're taking a step toward greater self-discipline. Self-mastery is about choosing your long-term goals over short-term pleasures. When you embrace your higher self, you align your thoughts, actions, and decisions with your highest purpose. You begin to see how fleeting and ultimately unsatisfying lust truly is, and you realize that your true fulfillment comes from living in alignment with your values and goals. At this stage, it's important to recognize that the final step is not about eliminating all desires, it's about mastering them. Lustful thoughts will still arise, but they no longer have the power to control you. They become like waves in the ocean, present but not overwhelming. Your focus shifts from resisting temptation to pursuing your higher purpose, and you'll find that the more you focus on what truly matters, the less power lustful thoughts will have over you. Embracing your higher self means living with intention. Every day you wake up with a sense of purpose, knowing that your actions are aligned with your deepest values. This doesn't happen overnight, but through consistent effort and dedication. By making the decision to rise above, you step into a life of empowerment, where you are not at the mercy of your desires, but are in full control of your future. In this process you find peace, not in the absence of desire, but in your ability to choose what desires you act on. The final step, rising above, is about making a commitment to live as your higher self. It's about choosing to be strong, disciplined, and purpose-driven, and in doing so you free yourself from the chains of lust, stepping into the fullness of your potential. Breaking free from lustful thoughts isn't about living in a constant state of resistance or guilt. It's about choosing to elevate yourself, to step into the fullness of who you are meant to be. It's about rewriting your story, not as a victim of temptation, but as a person who commands their thoughts and desires. You have the power to rise above, to turn away from fleeting distractions, and embrace the life of purpose, peace, and strength you were always meant to live. The road isn't easy, and there will be moments where the pull of temptation feels overwhelming. But remember this, you are stronger than any fleeting desire. You don't have to be defined by your struggles or trapped by your impulse. The true power lies in your ability to recognize these thoughts for what they are, temporary distractions, and to choose something greater. Every time you reject a lustful thought, you are affirming your commitment to your higher self. You are one step closer to the life of discipline, freedom, and fulfillment that you deserve. But to truly master this journey, you need more than just surface-level change. You need deeper, biblical wisdom that empowers you to destroy lust at its root before it destroys your peace, your purpose, and your future. That's why I've created a guide that contains 7 biblical secrets to destroy lust before it destroys. This isn't just another strategy. It's a transformative roadmap based on timeless biblical truths that will equip you to not only resist but to thrive. This ebook is packed with practical, actionable steps that will change the way you view and handle temptation. It will give you the tools to master your thoughts and reclaim your power once and for all. If you're ready to take the final step and break free from lust for good, click the link in the video description to grab your copy now. Don't let lust control your life another day. Your freedom is waiting.